guys, a long time no see, no speak, no crochet for me. I'm so sorry to have taken so long to get the next video to you. I've had a really bad back injury and I've been laid up for weeks. I have kind of kept the people updated in the group on Facebook. I don't know if you remember. If you want to head over, then I admin the group, so I'm happy to approve you. I think it's called Disney Crochet 22-23. So you just need to make sure that you agree to the rules if you're asking to be a part of the group, because we don't actually accept people in there without them agreeing to the rules. We need to know that you're a subscriber to the magazine. So we are now on issue 11, which I know is the first one that Hachette haven't done a video for. So I know a lot of people have been waiting for this one. So again, I'm really, really sorry. This one is the Nemo Aquaflower. It's all one colour. It's the colour on my screen at the moment, which this yarn comes with this issue, and it's called Aqua Green. As always, we're using our 4mm crochet hook. So I suppose let's just get into it. Let's go. So like we have done with most of the other squares, we're starting with a slip knot on our hook, and then we're then making 5 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm actually genuinely interested if this picture is better for you as well. I've managed to just treat myself to one of the Samsung S23 Ultras, the new ones that have just come out, purely because I said to them in the shop that I do a lot of filming and I want the best camera there is, and so I got a really, really good deal. So I'm really looking forward to seeing how this video comes out. So let me know if you can see a difference in the comments when you watch the video. So once we've chained 5, we're going to go back to our first stitch at the bottom just here, and we're going to go in that one and do a slip stitch. So we've got a foundation ring, and remember, like we always do, we need to pull those both sides apart, so we're going into that ring in the middle. We're going to chain 5 again before we go into the ring. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are counting that as a stitch. So that is your first stitch. We're then doing 1 double treble into the ring. So it's actually been so long since I've crocheted, I just had to look up again what a double treble is. That's awful. It's been like literally over a month since I've done this, and I normally work in US terms when I'm crocheting, my own sort of making my own personal patterns and using other patterns. So yeah, that's why it's confusing to me. Anyway, we're yarning over twice. We're going in through the ring. Remember to pull both sides apart and go through the center of the foundation ring that we made. We're then yarning over, pulling through 2, pulling through 2 again, and pulling through 2 again. You need to chain 1, and I'll show you again. Yarn over twice, so you've got 3 loops on the hook. Go in through that center and pull up a loop, so you've got 4 loops on the hook. Yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and then we're then chaining 1 again. If you look on your book at round 1, it will tell you how many times that you need to do this. If you've always used the Hachette videos in the past, and this is the first one of mine that you've used, this is purely because I cannot give you the full pattern in the video because of copyright reasons. I can just show you how to do the stitches only. So I'm going to go off camera and I'm going to do the rest of them, and I'll meet you back when I've done the correct amount that I need to do, and then we'll go on to the next step. So I've gone all the way around the amount of times it says to under round 1. I have also pulled my non-working yarn just to tighten that circle in the centre. Don't pull it too tight because you'll end up with your circle folding in on itself. The final step of round 1 is to do a slip stitch into the 5 chain space, and these are our original 5 chains that we made, and it just means we've literally just got to go into that space. We're not going into a stitch and then we're just doing a slip stitch, so we're pulling that yarn through and then through again, and that is round 1 complete. For round 2, the first step is to chain 2. So after we've chained 2, the first step of the round is to treble 2 together into the space. So we're yarning over and we're just going through the space, not into a stitch, and we're pulling up a loop. We're yarning over again and we're pulling through 2, so we've got 2 chains left on the hook. We're not going to finish off this treble because we're trebling 2 together, so we want to yarn over again, go back in through that space and pull up another loop, so we've got 4 loops left on the hook. We're yarning over and going through 2, and then we're yarning over again and going through the last 3. And it should look like we've got 3 parts to this stitch now, because although we just trebled those 2 together, we've got our first 2 initial chains there. So when we move on and go into the next spaces, we're going to be trebling 3 together to match this. After you have done that treble 2 together, you then want to chain 2. And from here and into every space around, we're going to treble 3 together, and I'll show you how to do that now. So for the treble 3 together, we're going to start it pretty much the same way as we just did for the last stitch. So we're yarning over, again going in through the next space. We've got 3 loops on the hook, yarn over and pull through 2. So we've got 2 loops on the hook. We're yarning over, going back in through that same space and pulling up another loop, yarning over and pulling through 2. So we've got 3 loops on the hook. So for the treble 2 together, it was at this point we yarned over and pulled through 3 loops that we've got remaining, but we don't want to do that here because we're trebling 3 together. So we're yarning over again and pulling up another loop, so there should be 5 on your hook. Yarn over and pull through the first 2, so you've now got 4 loops on the hook. We're then yarning over again, and this time pulling through all 4. And you can see that again it looks like we have done 3 stitches there, which is the same as the first one. Again, chain 2, and I'll show you how to do that again. Okay, so yarn over, in through the next space. We'll try that again. In through the next space and pull up a loop, so we've got 3 loops on the hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through 2. So we have 2 loops on the hook. We're yarning over again and going through that space and pulling up a loop, so we've got 4, yarning over and pulling through 2. Last one, we're yarning over, going in through that gap, pulling up 1, so we've got 5 loops on the hook, yarning over and pulling through 2. So we want to keep going in through that gap and then pulling through 2 until we end up with the 4 loops on our hook. We're then yarning over and pulling through all 4. Chain 2 again, and I'll show you again, but I won't do it as slow. So pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, pull through 2. I've got my 4 on the hook, so now I can yarn over and pull through all 4 and chain 2 again. Yarn over, in through the next gap, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through all 4 chain 2 again. We're going to do that in every gap going all of the way around. I will meet you back when you're done. I've gone all the way around. I don't know if you can see from there, but mine is starting to curl up a bit. So don't worry if yours is, because we will sort that hopefully as it gets bigger, or if not, we can just block them before we use them in the blanket and that will sort it out. So now I've gone into the last gap, we're chaining 1, and then we are doing a double crochet into the top of the first stitch. So the first stitch is going to be, I don't know if you can see there's a little tiny stitch there, but you can see that that one looks a lot bigger. So we're just going to go into the top, and that's the top of our first the treble 2 together we did at the beginning, and then we're pulling a loop through and we're yarning over and go through again. So that one's not a slip stitch, we need to do the 2 steps to that one to do the double crochet. So this is round 3, and in this round we're going to start squaring off the circle. So we're chaining 4 to begin with. 1, 2, 3 and 4. We then need to do 2 double trebles into the space. I know it's quite difficult to see this space, but if you can see your 2, 3 that sounds really confusing there. You can see your 2 petals, which have got 3 stitches, one here and one here. Just pull on them and you'll see there is a gap in there. It's directly below sort of where those stitches are that you've just done. So you yarn over twice and go in through that gap and pull up a loop, and you'll have 4. You will have 4 on the hook. Yarn over again, pull through 2, so you've got 3. Yarn over again, pull through 2, so you've got 2. Yarn over again and pull through 2, and that's the stitch done. I'll do that one again because we need to do 2. So yarn over twice, go in through that gap and pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Slightly different into the next 3 spaces. This one's going to be taller because this is our first corner. So we're yarning over and going into the next space, yarning over again, pull through 2 and pull through 2, and that is our first treble. Sorry, I got really confused then. We're then yarning over again and going back in through that gap and pulling up a loop, yarning over, pulling through 2 and 2 again. So we've just done 2 trebles into this space. To our we need to repeat that again into the next gap. So there's 1 treble, and 2 trebles. I'm going to do that one more time. 1 and 2. The next gap is where we're going to create our next corner. So we're going back to the double trebles. So we're yarning over twice and we're going to do 3 into this gap. So we're going in through the gap, yarning over, pulling through 2, pulling through 2 and pulling through 2. Repeat that again, in through that gap and pull up a loop, and then pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and once more pull through 2, pull through 2 and pull through 2. Now because we're doing our corner as with most of our squares, we're then going to do 2 chains, and that will help us to change direction. But then we're going back in through this space and we're doing another 3 double trebles. So we're yarning over twice and going back in, and then we're just pulling through 2, pulling through 2 and pulling through 2. So there's 1. Do that again. 1, 2, 3. And another 1, 1, 2 and 3. We're then repeating what we were doing before. So we're doing 2 trebles into the next 3 spaces. 1 and 2, there's the first space. 1 and 2 for the second space. 1 and 2 for the third space. So now we're back to the next corner where it's double trebles, where we're yarning over twice, going in through and pulling up a loop, and then we're pulling through 2, pulling through 2, and pulling through 2, and again, yarn over twice, 2, 2, 2, and then 2, 2, and 2. So we've done 3 stitches into that gap, and then we need to chain 2, and then we're doing another 3 double trebles to complete the corner. 2, 2, I've got a hair, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. So you will see that that one's starting to square off now. It is a little bit curled up. We just need to do the one side, the corner, and then the next side. Carry on as I've just been doing it, and I'll meet you when you finish this row and show you how to carry on. So I've gone all the way around, and as you can see, we have actually got our square shape now. And we're going to finish off with 3 double trebles into this last gap here. 2, 2, and 2, 2, 2, and 2, and the last one, 2, 2, and 2. Make sure you chain 2, just like with every other corner. And the final instruction for round 3 is to join with a double crochet into the 4th chain. So if we have a look at our chains here, which is this row, we can see that we've got 1, 2, 3, and count up to 4 there. So we're going in through that one, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through, and then we've completed round 3. Round 4, you need to chain 3, 1, 2, and 3, and we're going to do 2 trebles into the same space. So we're yarning over, going back in through that space, yarning over and pulling through 2, and then repeating that again. And the next one, yarn over, in through that space and pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2. Sorry, I just had to adjust my yarn. Yarn over and pull through 2. So we've got the first part of our corner complete for round 4. We're then doing 2 trebles into each of the next 4 spaces. So I'm just trying to work out what they mean by spaces, because obviously, just bear with me, I think I've gone wrong somewhere. Sorry about that, guys. I just had to go and redo the whole of the last round because I'd made a huge error and actually missed a stitch. So if you see something that doesn't look quite right in the last round, it was here, just before the corner 3 stitches. I'd only done 1 treble and not 2. So if you see that in the last round, I'm really, really sorry. But just so you know, obviously there should be 2, 2, and 2. Anyway, carrying on with round 4, we want to do 2 trebles into each of the next 4 spaces. So we've just done the corner. By 4 spaces, it means this space here after these 3, this space here after those 2, this space after those 2, and then this space after those 2. So it's just like the last round. We're going in through the gap and pulling through 2 and pulling through 2 again for our first treble, yarning over, back in through, pull through 2 and pull through 2. I'm sure you know how to do a treble by now. So that's our first one done. And then 1, 2 in the second gap, 1 and 2 in the third gap, and then 1 and 2 in our fourth gap. So now we're at the next corner. So we're going to do the same for the last row. So we're yarning over twice and we're doing 3 double trebles again. So into the corner, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and again, pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and again, 2, 2, and 2. We're chaining 2 to switch directions, and then we're doing another 3 double trebles just like the last round. So 1, 2, bear with me, I'm getting knotted up again, and 3. So this round is pretty much the same as the last round, so I'm sure you can just continue on from here and I can meet you at the end. Remember, we're doing 2 trebles in each of the 4 gaps, so 1, 2, 3 and 4, and then when you get to the corner space it's 3 double trebles, 2 chains, 3 double trebles, and I'll meet you back at the end of the row. So I've gone all the way around and I've just done the last 2 trebles into the 4th space and I'm back at the first corner. So we're going to do 3 double trebles. 2, 2, would help if I'm not leaning on my yarn, and 2, 2, 2, 2, and then 2, 2, and 2. Chain 2, just like your other corners, and then the last instruction for round 4 is to join with a double crochet into your 3rd chain. So get your chains and you've got 1 V there, 1 V there, and 1 V there. So we're going in through that space, pulling up a loop, yarning over and pulling through again, and there is round 4 complete. Moving on to round 5, we've got 2 more rows left. We're chaining 3, and we're doing 2 trebles into this corner space. So we're yarning over, going in through. There's 1, and there's our next. The next instruction is to do 2 trebles into each of the next 5 spaces. So we've got space 1 after the first 3 corner spaces. Sorry, space 1 after the first 3 corner stitches, that should have been. So 1 space, 2, 3, 4, and 5 before you get to your next corner 3 stitches. So this should be fairly simple because it's just a continuation of the last couple of rounds really. So 1 treble, 2 treble is our first one, and then 1 treble, 2 treble into space 2, 1 treble, 2 treble into space 3, 1 treble, 2 treble into space 4, and 1 treble, 2 treble into space 5. I realise I did that like quite quickly, but it is the same as we've done in the last 2 rounds, so I'm confident that you should know how to do that by now. It's the corner that is going to be different though, because we're not doing double trebles this time, we're just doing the trebles like we've just done. So once you reach the corner, we want to do 3 trebles. So just the same stitch that we've just done. So 1, 2, and 3, and then you're chaining 2, 1, 2, and then 3 more trebles. 1, 2, and 3. Carry on. Remember, you're doing 2 trebles in each of the 5 gaps, and then when you get to a corner, it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. So again, that's 2 trebles into each of the next 5 gaps, and then once you reach the corner, it's 3 trebles, 2 chains, 3 trebles. I'll meet you at the end. I've gone all the way around, and I'm at my final corner. So we're going to do 3 trebles into the corner space. 1, 2, and 3, and then we're doing 2 chains, 1 and 2, and the final instruction for that round is to join with a double crochet into the 3rd chain. So we've got our chain stitches here. There's 1 that I've just covered up, 2 that I've just covered up, which means number 3 is this one here. So we're going in through that stitch, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through again. And now we have done round 5 and we've got 1 more to go. You will see that in the middle there's almost like a checkerboard pattern forming. It looks quite cool. Mine is still like quite ruffled up. Also, I don't know, and I didn't mention it at the start, it looks quite blue on the camera, doesn't it? But I can promise you that it is the aqua colour in person. It's just Samsung, and the way, for some reason, it changes the colours. So I promise you I am using the right colour yarn. Anyway, let's move on to round 6. We're doing 2 chains, and I believe for this round we are going into the stitches and not into the gaps. So we're working with half trebles this time, and we're starting off with 1 half treble into our corner space. So we're yarning over and going in through that gap, pulling up a loop, so we've got 3 loops on our hook. We're yarning over and pulling through all 3. Now it says here that we need to half treble into each of the next something amount of spaces. I can't tell you the amount because obviously I can't give you the full pattern, but if you have a look at round 6, it tells you how many trebles there should be there. So I'm not going to say that number because that will reveal too much. So I'm just going to carry along and you can follow me and see where we're going. I'm just trying to work out which is my first one that I need to go in. So okay, so we're going into the stitches now, to yarn over and into the top of our first treble from the last round. We're yarning over and pulling through all 3. Yarn over, next stitch, yarn over all 3, yarn over, next stitch, yarn over all 3. I'm just going to keep going all the way to the end. You know how many you need to do. I've just done 3 there. And when I've done the right amount, I'll show you how to do the corner. I'm going to be silent for a while because I'm obviously counting in my head. I do apologise. Ah, that last one's difficult because it's right in the corner. There we go. Okay, so I've gone all the way along and it should look something like that. For the corner space, we are doing 2 half trebles into the corner. So 1 and 2. We're chaining 2, 1 and 2. And then doing 2 more half trebles into the corner. 1 and 2. We're then continuing with that pattern all the way around, so I'll meet you at the end. So I've gone all the way around from round 6. We're finishing off with 2 half trebles into the last corner space. 2 chains. And the final instruction is to join with a slip stitch into the second chain. So our chain stitches are here, there's one there and the second one here. So I'm going in through that space, pulling through and pulling through. And if I pull that one as tight as I can, because I haven't got scissors here at the moment to cut it, so I'm just going to leave that one like that with the loop so I know that I need to cut that one. This pattern does seem to be quite curly, so it definitely will need blocking. Let me just stretch that one out so I can show you better on camera. I just don't want to stretch it too much so that it's not the size it should be. So I wonder if I can move my camera back a bit. There we go. That is the completed Nemo Aqua flower, which is square 11. And I guess I better do a size check just to see. Opening my drawer and getting one of my squares out. Just want to make sure I get one that I know is definitely the size it should be. I'll go with the Mickey, seeing as it's the Mickey that I normally use. But I'm just aware that the Mickey's quite curled up as well. So if I put those two together, then yeah, we have come out the right size. Woo! Maybe slightly bigger on each side by, you know, a stitch, but I'm not too worried about that. That's like minute measurements about height wise, and it's probably why I've just stretched it that it hasn't helped as well. There does seem to be a bit more of a gap the other end, but again, if it's only a little bit like that, I'm not too worried. It's if it was out by a centimetre more that it would be an issue, because these can always be stretched to size once they're blocked. So yay, that is the end. Just put my hand square away. That is the end of that is the end of square 11. Remember, if you want to follow me, it does mean that you'll get immediate notifications when the next square is up, because you genuinely can't rely on me to post in the groups because I'm not very good at remembering. Just have a very brain foggy brain. If you could leave a like on the video and leave a comment as well, whatever you wish to write, it's really helpful. It just means that more people get to see the video, which is what we want. We want people to enjoy the crocheting. But I've really enjoyed making this with you. I hope you've enjoyed crocheting along with me, and I will see you for the next square number 12. See you then. Bye bye.